Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I'll be checking out a new track from IntroPre off their upcoming record, All Is, All Shall Be. I checked out All Is on the channel when that came out a couple of weeks ago. Now the track I'll be checking out is Virtue and Regret. The album is being released in a very interesting way. It's one single every 2 weeks, which I spoke about in the last video. I really like that time frame. I think it's good to keep the momentum moving, but not too long, so I'm very excited to check this out. I will link the visualizer I'll be using in the reaction portion of this video, as well as the rest of the band's promotional links, social media, anything related to the album, like merch and pre-orders, all of that in the description. Other than that, I'm going to stop talking, and we are going to get straight into it. Got that dark feel. Oh. Huh. The chord progression here in this part is super cool. Oh, that bend. Definitely adding its own flavor to the single mix. Oh wow. Okay. In Fear, Virtue, and Regret, let's discuss. as the track ends, you could definitely feel it building back up into another track, so I'm of course excited to see where that goes. The roadmap that this band has laid down with the singles is incredibly promising. I really like that this one provides, at the same time as it taps into that energy and like the more aggressive side that they've shown in these singles, like as pretty much that first verse, as soon as it kicks in, it brings what I'm talking about. Also, the riffs you get from that intro as well. I don't want to say just the intro riff, because where it transitions to from that point keeps that feel moving with it. But then you have things like the chorus on this track. There were a lot of moments that were just kind of saturated in this like darker kind of synthier sound, and really allowed for a lot of room where it could have been, you know, they could lean a lot more into that like heavier, energetic, you know, breakdown after breakdown type of sound. But having the mix and not really knowing which way they're going to go when you go into a new track is very exciting when they do both sound so well. I think having those, I don't want to call them like an electronic feel or anything, because usually when I say something like that, I'm thinking more like what Void of Vision has been doing. I mean, I guess like that's not to say that's the only way that that can be done, because obviously there are a lot of different contexts that those elements can be used in and stuff. But I think for like the overall like electronic sound, it just has stuff that's like a bit more saturated or even upbeat and things like that. But this has such subtle nods at that sort of sound and are used in ways that are just really cool. The chorus on this track was really a surprise. I guess a surprise for me. They've shown their diversity and kind of range with their vocals, their ability to do a really like you know, ethereal sounding clean vocal or singing style, or you know, bring in those synths, but at the same time you have stuff like what I was talking about with the riffs in the beginning, and that's not something that fades as this track progresses either. It's obviously a trait that's carried through. So having the guitar work that's on this track that's bouncy, it's bendy, it's thick, and then also having stuff that sounds a little bit spacier, a little bit like roomier, with some of that synth coming through and the singing style being really almost haunting in places. It just is like provides a lot of contrast compared to some of the moments that we've seen from this album so far with these singles. So that's very exciting to me that so far with these singles all considered, this is shaping up to be a very threatening, for my number 2 spot. Invent Animate's Heavener is going to be an album that I talk about for the rest of my life. So that's going to be incredibly, I would be shocked, floored if anything that came out this year was able to knock that out of my number 1 spot. So don't let that speak really to how much I enjoy this, because going for the number 2 spot even right now with records like To the Graves record, Gideon, you have Periphery. There have been some big contenders already this year, but this is looking to be a little, not even a little, straightforward, very threatening to those records that I just listed that are kind of dueling it out for my 2 and 3 and 4 and you know, stuff after Heavener. But this has qualities, you know, having that sort of ambient or the style of singing in this and having that contrast is something that I absolutely love about Invent Animate. So yeah, I'm just very excited. What else am I missing? You had the section about in the middle of the song, I think, where you've got the blast beats and then it extends a little bit more on that guitar work, but then the song really kind of progresses to a more mature place rather than adding like some big old breakdown at the end of the song or something, which I feel like would be something that's more common structure-wise nowadays. So having it really kind of ride out the mood that it maintained through the rest of the song, but still having like its own way of expressing that same heaviness. I feel I think the section with the blast beats and kind of letting that guitar work come through was a really tasteful choice there. So this has a really dark mood to it at the same time as bringing in some stuff that's making me even more excited for, I think, the softer, like lighter elements of this record, like the singing, or to hear some more stuff like this sort of synth, but absolutely in the riffs and the guitar work as well. That has me very keen also, but always has. So again, this is shaping up to be a record that is going to be looking very promising for my list. I could not pick a favorite single, I don't think. yeah, it's really difficult, and I feel like it changes with my mood a little bit too, like depending on what I'm feeling, my favorite will change. They are all just incredible though, so this will be a very nice addition to that collection. Again, the album will be out on May 5th, but they're doing a single every 2 weeks leading up to the record. So 2 weeks from, this came out on the 17th, so the day that Heavener and Gideon and all of those records came out, Chelsea Grin, 2 weeks from that day is when the next single should be. So I will be waiting. I will be doing another video. I know this one is a little bit later, but like I said, we had a very heavy album week, so it's taken me a minute to start catching back up, but I'm very glad that I did. So let me know what you thought in the comments. I really couldn't ask for anything different than what this band is doing with their singles. I'm just gonna sit back and keep enjoying what they give to me, and I again think that this record will be one that I do keep on my rotation. All Is, All Shall Be, out on May 5th. I will link all of the social media for In Fear, the visualizer I used in the reaction portion of this, and most importantly, any sort of physical copies or pre-orders that you can get for the record. All of that will be in the description of this video. You can also find my link tree there that will have the Patreon, which I'm working right now. I just was filming for a new style of video I'm going to roll out on there, talking about my top 25 most influential records for my music taste currently. I'm rolling out a series about gaming, which is a little bit delayed because it's very different to record yourself playing a game than it is to record yourself listening to music, but nonetheless a skill I am developing. I make playlists for tier 3. I've got a bunch of stuff I'm offering on there. They're all listed in the tiers in the Patreon link in the description if you have any interest in checking that out. Also in that link tree you can find the invite for the Discord server, which is where the community is based for my YouTube channel. We've got a lot of really wonderful people in there, music related conversation unrelated to music as well, just a community of music lovers. So if you're interested in joining, checking that out, that will be there as well. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.